Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Twin Horizons YouTube channel for another LEGO set review. Today we're going to be looking at LEGO set 75312, LEGO Star Wars The Mandalorian Boba Fett's Starship. Before we get into the video, let's take a quick look at the graph. 91% of people who are watching are not yet subscribed. So if you consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, that would really help me grow the channel. And then you can be up to date on my daily postings of content, whether that be LEGO set reviews or right now we're trying to do a LEGO Indiana Jones playthrough series. So you'll be up to date on all of that if you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the video. This LEGO set was released in August of 2021 and is currently still retailing on store shelves. The set is rated for ages 9 and up and comes with 593 pieces. The set is retailing currently for $50, and I'm sure you could probably find one on sale somewhere, and you can hear my thoughts here in the rest of the video. This LEGO set comes with two minifigures. On the far left, we have the Boba Fett minifigure for this set. It looks like there's about two sets that come with this version of Boba Fett. Obviously, this is the newer, updated version from the Mandalorian series, and then, of course, the Boba Fett series. And then, of course, there's older versions of him, but again, this is the newer version, and he only comes in two sets so far. He's got some really nice arm printing and just obviously the updated color scheme from the show, and he's got his classic green helmet and like the lighter green jetpack, and he's got a newer weapon, and overall just a really nice minifigure. And for now, because the set is currently retailing, he's only going for about $5.81 as a standalone minifigure. Next to Boba Fett, we have the Mandalorian. Now, I feel like the market's just oversaturated with this minifigure. It looks like it's saying he only comes in about 3 sets, and that might be this version of him. Because they've had 3 seasons of that show so far, I feel like there's got to be 5 or 6 different sets that have him in it. So I feel like this will be a minifigure that probably won't go for much in the future unless there's like a very particular version people will be looking for. Again, I just feel like there's so many different versions of him that probably won't be worth a lot. But anyway, still looks good. He's got some nice arm printing here, and he comes with a cape, and he is going for around $5.05. Now, on the far right, we have a Gamorrean guard in carbonite. This technically isn't a minifigure. It's just, of course, a piece with a sticker on it. However, I mean, in the past, they've had the Han Solo in carbonite, and I don't know if that's a minifigure or not. But again, you do get one with this set, and it does fit inside of the LEGO set here, which we'll look at here in a second. Here we have the actual set itself. Now, I will make a disclaimer. Disney decided to change the name of the set, or maybe LEGO did, from Slave 1 to Boba Fett Starship, but all of us Star Wars fans know this as Slave 1. It was that way in the original trilogy, and of course in the Clone Wars series as well. So for all intents and purposes, this is Slave 1, and that's what I would call it, not this Boba Fett Starship. But they did change that for the Boba Fett series and technically the Mandalorian. I personally don't know why, but anyway, the Slave 1 set has had, I think, 6 or 7 different iterations over the years, so this would be the 8th version of Slave 1, and honestly, this might be the worst one, in my opinion, just because of how small the set is, and just the minifigures that come with it, and again, I just feel like there's better versions of it. However, all those other versions are retired, and I've always wanted a version of this set, which is unfortunately why I had to buy this one. If I can in the future, I'd love to get one of the older versions, but overall, it's not terrible. It's underneath the cargo ramp there, you can actually store that Gamorrean guard in carbonite. There's space in the cockpit for one minifigure, and then on the backside by the engines, there's actually a little piece, Technic piece that folds out, and you can actually use as a handle to hold this set if you're kind of flying it around or playing with it. And then the wings themselves, they actually kind of self-level as you pick up the ship, so when it lands, they sit flat, and when it goes up, they kind of move horizontally or perpendicular to the ship there. So that's kind of a neat feature. And then on the right, you get a little like maintenance speeder, which I believe you can actually set the ship on to actually hold it up for display purposes. So that is kind of nice, and they did do a few things with this set, but overall, not my favorite version of Slave One. We'll get it on the turntable here, and then I can actually demonstrate some of those features we just talked about. Here, as you can see, we have Slave One standing up here. It is being held up by that little speeder I showed you guys in the last shot. So in theory, this is supposed to be how you can actually display the set, which is actually kind of nice. You get a little maintenance speeder that then doubles as a stand for it. And we'll actually try to get a rotation shot of this here in a moment. Hopefully it doesn't tip over. I had to redo one of the shots here because it actually fell over. So it's not the most stable thing, but it is nice that they kind of tried to include something. And again, you can kind of see you get the cockpit up there. You get some forward mounted flick fire, not the flick fire, they're just the stud shooters. They're on the front, as well as those actual gun pieces down there at the bottom. So overall, the set, it looks, you know, like Slave One, but again, I feel like there's better versions of it out there. Again, here we have it standing up. I just wanted to point out how these can move, and they kind of self-level, as I mentioned, with, you know, however you have the ship. And then here on the back, I want to demonstrate this right here. So this piece right here, this is what actually folds out, and then kind of is your handle, and then you can actually pick it up and, you know, fly it around and make all the classic Star Wars spaceship noises. And then as you put it down, these kind of self-level, as I mentioned. And then one more thing here, underneath this is where that kind of cargo hatch opens, and then you can take the Gamorrean Guard sticker piece and you kind of slide it right in here just like that, and that folds up like that. So again, not too terrible on the features. Of course, this cockpit does open, and you can put Boba Fett in here with his jetpack on, so he can actually be sitting up. And again, overall, the set doesn't look terrible. I just feel like there's probably better versions of it out there. And I believe they've made a UCS version at one point. So again, not a terrible set. If you want a Slave One, pick it up. If not, maybe try to find one of the older versions out there on the used market. Here, taking a look at the box, in the upper right-hand corner, we have the Lego Mandalorian box art. Of course, like I said, Lego sometimes they've transitioned from the actual characters like they would be on screen to the Lego versions, and this is actually the version of the Mandalorian from season 1 before he got all his armor. You can tell because he has the darker helmet, and he kind of has that reddish, you know, the crimson look on his actual torso, whereas in the bottom right, you can see on the Mandalorian minifigure for this set, he's got most of his Beskar armor. So that's just kind of a little tip for you. Then on the left-hand side, you have the Lego along with the Star Wars logos. In the middle of the box, of course, you have Slave One, or in this case, it's named Boba Fett Starship for this set. And then the bottom right, you have both Boba Fett and the Mandalorian being showcased in the minifigure bar down there in the bottom right. Back of the box here in the upper left-hand corner, once again, you have the Lego along with the Star Wars logos and the set code 75312. And then you just have the middle of the back just showcasing on the top right there. You see Boba Fett being loaded into the cockpit. You have, of course, the set being showcased, him pulling out the Gamorrean Guard in the carbonite there, and then the bottom just shows a few different features: the stud shooters on the top, the little handle for the ship to be used, the fact that those side wings self-level, and then of course the fact you can use that little speeder as a display stand as well in the bottom right there. So again, just a few little showcases of the set, and you know, once again, some great box art from Lego. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for watching another LEGO set review on the Twin Horizons YouTube channel. This brings the total value of my LEGO set collection thus far up to $3,666. Thank you so much again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.